You're listening to the 164th edition of the Bitachon podcast. We continue in the pasukim from Reb Zundel. He brings a passuk in Tehillim chapter 40, verse 2. Kavoi kivisi Hashem. I hoped to Hashem. Double language. And right, the word kavoi, which means to hope, Tikvah-Hope. The root is the word kav, which means a line, a straight line. I'm drawing a straight line between myself and God. Vayet elai. God turns to me, or he turned to me, Vayishma shavasi, and Hashem heard my call. He brings here from the Medrash Sheicher Toif, Kavoi kivisi Hashem vayet elai vayishma shavasi. I hoped constantly, over and over again, I hoped to Hashem, God turned towards me, and he heard my call, he heard my heartfelt prayer. Pasuk says in Isaiah, in Yeshaya, chapter 25, verse 9, it says, and they will say on that day, it's talking about the future day, the days of Mashiach, of the Messianic age. They will say on that day, this is our God. This is our God. We hoped to him. We drew a straight line between ourselves and him. And he saved us. Right, so that passuk also has these two elements. The kivui, the hoping, and the Yeshua, the salvation that God brought. Says the Medrash an amazing thing, and it's important to remember this at this time when we are in a very difficult and challenging time here in Eretz Yisrael, and we have an army, we are fighting back, and Hashem gave us incredible abilities. Hashem planted in the minds of the Jewish leaders, the military leaders, incredible ways of protecting ourselves. But yet, says the Medrash, what do we have? What is our best weapon when it comes to wishing for salvation, wishing for Mashiach? The only thing, says the Medrash, that we have, the only weapon that we have is our kivui, our hope, our prayer. God, redeem us. We might have a land of Israel, which is a Jewish country, but we don't yet have a Beis Hamikdash. We don't have a temple. We don't have the special siyata d'shmaya, that when you have that siyata d'shmaya, you don't have to do anything. You just sit back and watch as the enemies of the Jewish people fall on their own. We're not there yet. But what is it that gives us the geula? What is it that brings us to this point of redemption? It's the kivui. It's the hoping to Hashem. It's the placing of our faith in God. B'schar kavoi kivisi Hashem. In the merit of this passuk, in the merit of this statement of David HaMelech, King David, the greatest king of the Jewish people, the one upon whom is called Mashiach ben David, the Messiah is going to come from King David. And he has incredible armies. He himself is a warrior. And yet, what does he say? He says, Kavoi kivisi Hashem. I hoped. I placed my faith in God. And Hashem is the one who answers me. He's the one who brings my salvation. It's interesting. I said that it says both elements here. There's the Kavoi kivisi and the Yeshua. Hashem, Vayishma, Hashem hears. Shavasi, my calls. This is interesting because the word Vayishma Shavasi doesn't really say Hashem brings the salvation, but obviously the mashmos of it is that if Hashem heard my call, all these letters here are Yeshuasi, Shavasi is Yeshua, Yeshuas Hashem, the salvation. It comes from the very call. The fact that I'm calling to Hashem and He's saving me. It's the same letters. Tichsiv Tov Hashem L'Kevov. Pasuk says, interestingly, in Eicha, in Lamentations, Yirmiyahu Hanavi, Jeremiah the prophet, is talking about the fact that the temple is going to be destroyed. It's during the first temple he's speaking, and he says, Hashem is good to those who hope to Him. Meaning, when we say Hashem is good, it means you'll see the ultimate good, the revealed good. But Oyemer, he brings a pasuk in Zechariah, Shuva lebitzar nasirei Tikvah. Pasuk says in Zechariah, chapter 9, verse 12, it says, return to your fortified cities, those who are bound to hope. Which, it's worth seeing that chapter 9 of Zechariah talks about Ashkelon and Ashdod and Aza. It talks about the southern part of Israel. It talks about Tzor. It talks about Damascus. It talks about Lebanon, Damascus, Tur, all these cities that are involved in an incredible war. It's talking about the future times, talking about now. It's incredible to read the whole chapter. I highly suggest chapter 9 of Zechariah. But the passuk there says, go back to your fortified city, or go back to your fortified one. There's different understandings of what it means. One understanding is that it means go back to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is the walled city. It's the fortified city. It's the place where the Beis Hamikdash is. It's the place where the temple is, where we fortify ourselves with Torah. Kimitzion Teitzei Torah. The Torah comes out of Zion. The Torah comes out of Jerusalem. The Sanhedrin sat there. Return to your fortification. One shot is return to Hashem. Go back to God. God is the one who fortifies you. God is the one who protects you. Right? Asirei Tikvah means those who are bound to hope. It means we don't give up hope. When we ask Hashem, as we're going to see shortly, when we ask Hashem and Hashem doesn't answer right away, we keep asking. Kaveh Hashem. Chazak v'yamis libechem v'kaveh Hashem. Kaveh kivisi Hashem. I hoped and I hoped to Hashem. I didn't give up hope. We are called Asirei Tikvah. Asirei Tikvah means bound to hope. We don't give up hope. It's amazing. Such beautiful psukim. Shema Taimar. Ovar Kotzir. Oh, and in those psukim it's talking about the salvation of the Jewish people. Why are we saved? Why is it that Hashem answers us? Part of it is because we don't give up hope. We keep coming back to Hashem. We keep asking Hashem. We know that Hashem is the one who fortifies us. We come back to Him. We come back to Him. We come back to Him. Shema Taimar Over Kotzir Kolakayitz Anachnu Lenashanu. Another passuk in Yirmiyahu, chapter 8, verse 20. Jeremiah the prophet says, the Jewish people say, look, the times that we know are times that Hashem provides us with our parnasa, with our needs. The Kotzir is when we reap the harvest. The Kayitz is when we bring in the fruits from the fields. We bring in our grapes. We bring in whatever other fruits we're growing. Those times have passed, meaning the times where usually, and the Meforshim say it's talking about Iyar and Tammuz, which is interesting because Iyar is the time of that the War of Independence occurred, or the state was declared in 1948. The 6-Day War occurred at the end of Iyar. These are times of salvation. And Tammuz is a time when we bring in our crops. That's when we have the times which are beginning the destruction of the temple. So it's kind of the opposite. It's like these times have passed. Times when we thought Tammuz and Av were supposed to be a glorious time. When Moshe Rabbeinu came down with the luchos, so the original set of the tablets, the Jewish people were sinning. They were worshiping the golden calf, so it became a terrible day. But it was supposed to be a great day. It was supposed to be the day he came down with the Torah. So these were times of hope. These were times of connection to Hashem, but they became times of sadness. So these times have passed, and we weren't saved, the Jewish people say. Kavel Hashem. Chazak v'yamis libecha v'kavel Hashem. When the times pass, when it looks like we're waiting for salvation, when it looks like things are difficult, it looks like everything, all the world is embroiled. The nuclear weapons are coming out. The Jewish people is being attacked in Europe, in America, everywhere you go. Don't give up. The Jewish people are Asirei Tikvah. We are bound to hope. We have to continue to hope. Trust in Hashem, strengthen your heart. Trust in Hashem again. Kavel Hashem, says the Medrash, Tikvah achar Tikvah. One hope after another hope. Don't give up your hope. Chazak v'yamis libecha, strengthen your heart. And kivisim v'lo neshatem, kavu v'shuv v'kavu. If you hope to Hashem, but you didn't see the salvation right away, it didn't happen when you thought it was going to happen. You were exiled in 1492. There were crusades, there were challenges, there were difficulties, mayhem and destruction. Don't give up. So, how long are we supposed to hope for? How long do we even know that we can hope? Maybe we should give up. Look what happened just 80 years ago with the Holocaust, the destruction of the Jewish people, 6 million, 6.25 million people. Maybe we should give up. How long should we hope for? The passuk says in Tehillim, David HaMelech tells us, the Jewish people hope to Hashem from now until forever. We just don't give up. We are asirei tikva. We don't give up. The passuk says, also in Tehillim, strengthen and give courage to your heart. All of those who hope to Hashem, keep giving yourself, keep reinforcing your hope. Don't give up. Says the Medrash, if you do this, you are guaranteed you'll be saved. There's no suffix, there's no doubt. Pasuk says in Yeshaya, Isaiah the prophet, perhaps the greatest prophet of hope, says in chapter 49, verse 23, the ones who hope to me will not be embarrassed, right? We won't be embarrassed. What does it mean we won't be embarrassed? It means that what's the most embarrassing thing when you put your faith in somebody and he lets you down? You put your faith in Hashem. It's embarrassing to be let down when you trusted in someone. Hashem promises us if we trust in Him, we will not be let down, we will not be embarrassed. The pasuk says also in Yeshaya, those who hope to Hashem, they will re-strengthen themselves, they will renew themselves, they will be refreshed with new strength. Those who hope to Hashem. Ultimately, King David says, those who hope to Hashem, they will be the ones who inherit the land. Who's here in Israel? The people who believe there's a future for Klal Yisrael, and there's a future for us in Eretz Yisrael. Where is our future? It's not in Europe, it's not in America. Our future is in Eretz Yisrael. That's where our glorious future lies. 7 million of us are here. It's unbelievable. Those are the ones who inherit the land, the ones who really believe that it's possible. That's why our passuk says, I hoped, yes, I hoped to Hashem. God leaned towards me, and He heard my call, He heard my scream. Really, Shava means a scream. It means, if it doesn't work out the first time, the second time, the third time, don't ever give up. Keep hoping to Hashem, and God will answer you ultimately. It might not happen right away. It might take thousands of years. But the Jewish people will be answered because that's who we are. And David, Shekiva li Anisi, the Medrash finishes and says, David who hopes to me, King David. King David is the one who hopes. He doesn't give up. I have answered him. Right? David, King David is chased after by King Shaul, by Saul. King David is chased after by his own son, Avshalom. Constant trials and tribulations throughout his life. He's told that he can't possibly be the king. He comes from a Moabite princess. Princess, very nice. Moabite, oh no. David doesn't give up. Kavai kivisi, says David HaMelech. Hashem promises, if you want to be answered, be like David, be like King David. He never gave up. He continued to hope to me. That's the beautiful Medrash. The Alshif says as follows: understand what is the difference between somebody who hopes in a human being, in Melech or Sar Yihya, whether we're talking about someone who puts his faith in the king or a prince or someone important, someone who has power, l'mekaves Hashem, as opposed to somebody who hopes to Hashem that God will help him. Ginei mekave ish leish. When I put my faith in another human being, pamachas yisal mimenu, and the person avoids me. Right? I'm asking somebody for help, and he's avoiding me. If I see he's avoiding me, I'm not going to keep trying to get that person to help me, because he obviously doesn't care about me. But in our relationship with God, that's just not how it is. If Hashem is, so to speak, avoiding me, that's not the dynamic. If Hashem hasn't answered me the first time, it doesn't mean that he's avoiding me. That's not true. If I trusted in him one time, King David is saying, I'm not going to stop trusting in Hashem, even though I didn't get answered right away. It's worth it for me to trust in God, and actually the very trusting itself changes the equation. Because even though I'm far away from him, when I hope to him, he might not have answered me yet, because he's not nearby, so to speak, because I'm so far from him. I've distanced myself from him. But the moment that I trust in him, first he leans towards me. He comes closer to me. I'm entering into a relationship with him. It's not the same as it was. Before, I was very distant. I trusted in him. I didn't yet get my answer because I'm not close enough yet, but I'm getting closer. And then the second time, when God has already come close to me, right, there's two steps in the passuk. Kavoi kivisi Hashem. I hoped, yes, I hoped, right? It's a double hoping. First Hashem leans towards me, and God hears my call. So it's a process. Hoping in Hashem, believing that I'm going to have a salvation, it's a process. I don't get answered right away, per se, depending on my distance, depending on my relationship with God. And the Yalkut Shemaini says, Kavoi kivisi, Amar David mitoich hakivui. It seems to be the same idea. Because of the fact that I hope to him, and now that I'm in a relationship with him, now Hashem is going to answer me, King David is telling us. He brings here the Ol Yaakov. It says a beautiful idea. It's an amazing thing, okay? Listen to this. This is really, we're working on Bitachon together. We're trying to change our relationship with God, to develop our relationship with God, to develop our faith in Hashem. But here's what happens. Part of the results can look like this. Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa was a great sage in the Talmud. It's a Gemara in Brachos. He would say, look, if I'm praying, Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa was on an incredible level. He said, if I'm praying and my prayer just flows out, I'm talking to God and it's just flowing. So I know if it goes that way with my prayer, I know that it means and my prayers are going to be answered. Cannot be talking similarly Adam. Listen to this kind of reverse, the opposite of what you would think. If you feel bitachon, you feel sure, it's a siman, it's a sign to the person. Sometimes Hashem helps us to have a feeling in our heart that we are sure it's going to work out. We are sure the money's going to come. We are sure we're going to get the part. We're going to have the opportunity. We're going to get the raise. If we have that feeling inside of ourselves, it's a sign from Hashem. Sometimes the bitachon helps us get what we want, so to speak, or what we need. And sometimes Hashem gives us the bitachon in our heart, that feeling, that sense of confidence, because He's about to give us what we need. Because if, let's say, a person, Hashem has decided that he doesn't want to deal with this person, perhaps he's sinned, perhaps just not being the person he's meant to be. So if Hashem decides he's going to take away the hashgacha, the divine providence from that person, so Hashem will take away from him, mitzamtim liboy shelo yiftach boy. Hashem makes it impossible for that person to trust. Lo yeh bechlal v'abatech b'Hashem chesed yisavevenu. The passuk says that the one who trusts in Hashem, he will be surrounded by kindness. So Hashem takes away the trust from inside of that person's heart. This is very interesting because it plays around with our free will here, it sounds like. So the Yalkut explains, this is the Yalkut that we just quoted, the Oil Yaakov explains it, and he says like this, that King David is saying that because I hope to Hashem, because I have Bitachon in Hashem, vayishmat shavosi vayak mevar, keifalosh nakasav kava kivisi lomer mitoich hakivu kivisi kishma shavosi. King David is saying that sometimes I notice that I have confidence. I feel it. I know it's going to be. I know it's going to work out. That feeling helps strengthen my feeling of confidence. It's like Hashem is giving me a little gift. If I feel it's going to work out, I can have a deeper sense of confidence that it's going to work out. If I sense that I trust in Hashem, I feel it. It's going on inside of my heart. I feel it, right? Then I can know that I can continue to have that feeling. It strengthens itself. So it's an amazing idea. So there's so many nuggets of wisdom here. There's so much to think about. For sure, we're going to be answered if we strengthen our hearts. That's one aspect of it. But also, if we feel that confidence, we can know that we can continue to work with that confidence and trust in Hashem. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you again next time.